Hello everybody and welcome to another episode of Elite FPL. We are here today to talk about the upcoming game week, even though literally the last one ended yesterday. It's a frantic paced period of the FPL season, especially after the World Cup. Obviously now we've got a bit of a backlog. I know I love it personally, the fact that we've got a chance to accumulate more points after maybe a bad game week. Straight back at it, no time to celebrate, no time to be upset, no time to be smug, Steve. But on that note, I mean, we are heading into game week 19, halfway through the season, approaching that period. Changes afoot for Steve-O, it would seem, from the video that he put out last night. The question on everyone's minds is, will people that load up on Fulham and Chelsea assets come to regret their decision over the next few game weeks? Yes or no? Steve-O, welcome, my friend. What's going on?
Yeah, I'm just looking at the league table there. I genuinely can't believe after this game week I am, was it 7 points clear of you?
Yeah, I can't believe it either, to be honest.
No, well, we like we say, we WhatsApp about various
what we
things.
thought was going to happen and what happened is two different things.
Yeah, well, in all seriousness, I would not imagine in a million years Man City drawing with Everton at home and Kevin De Bruyne getting 2 points. 1 point, sorry.
No. And I wouldn't imagine Mitrovic missing a penalty. This just looking back on what happened over the weekend, none of my differentials paid off.
Well, let's start with when you tweeted out about Rashford.
Well, yeah. I mean, in a nutshell, when I saw he was benched, I thought, you know what, this is great. I bring him in, and obviously there was an off the pitch disciplinary issue of him turning up late for a meeting, overslept, and there's a club policy in place by Ten Hag and the rest of his admin team that any disciplinary stuff, there's punishments for it. Like if you're late for training, late for a meeting, you're going to expect to almost be dealt a certain punishment, and being benched for that game, I feel after the way he's performed lately, is a good sign that Ten Hag is not going to put up with any laziness from his players or any commitment issues. So obviously we talked in the past about United having egos, about having they're too big. I don't think any player now has a feeling that they can get away with anything with Ten Hag, and I think maybe they did get away with a lot under Ole. Because Ole was a nice, friendly manager. He used to smile at players, and when they made mistakes on the pitch, he would be smiling and he'd be trying to lift them up, and he'd put his arms around them. That's fine. Some players react to that, but when you think about a manager that you could potentially take advantage of and maybe push the limits and maybe cross the line a few times, Ole strikes me as being one of those managers that he deals with. He doesn't. I mean, I don't know. But he strikes me as a friendly manager that you could take advantage of. We've all got a friend that is overly nice, and nice people, they get walked over. So the fact that Ten Hag is kind of laying down the law and willing to do that and just set an example of Rashford was a great, actually from a United fan point of view, it's quite a breath of fresh air, and something which we don't see a lot of in the top clubs at the moment anymore. Certainly when the players start to be earning so much more money than the manager, and they start to have a more of a clout within the club than what they should have. It should always, Steve-O, it should always be manager first. Coaching staff first. Players. They're professional footballers. They're professionals that get paid an extremely large amount of money for turning up for training, turning up for events that they need to be at, and playing, kicking a bag of wind around the pitch for 90 minutes. So it was good. It was good to see that, it was done without obviously going around and rehashing and repeating myself over and over. I was happy that he came off the bench and what a goal it was. It was a very good goal.
Yeah.
And Rashford is certainly showing that he's got, all of the potential of doing well and scoring many more goals for United second half of the season. I was a bit disappointed with Martial, but Martial's always been a player that's quite he'll blank, he'll score, he'll blank, he'll score. Like he's quite sporadic with his points. He's never been week in, week out. He's going to get you a goal. You've never ever had been thinking, any given week he's going to get you a haul. But he'll come up with a haul. And most of the time it's when people least expect it, and normally it's when people transferred him out. So
it's like this weekend.
Yeah, exactly. When you got the likes of Mitrovic that people are getting on top of. So in long story short, Rashford got me the goal. Obviously, you've got him in, so it was kind of wasted anyway. But when I say wasted, I don't mean it like that. I mean it was kind of irrelevant when it comes to our rivalry. But I'm obviously listening to your video last night. It's obvious that we're going to have identical teams for the most part going into the second period of the league. Where am I going to catch the points if we're captaining the same player? Like where, and it's going to be, infringe players, and I'm trying to work out. I'm trying to work out in my head, like, what can I do that's going to be different, that's going to gain an advantage on you, because your team is solid. Like your team's not, there's no weaknesses in your team, or there's no, I've got a little bit more team value than you, but that's just the difference. Me having, Dalot and White on the bench, and you having Bueno and a 4.0 whatever, defender. I don't know. I'm just kind of just say like, that 2 million more in price is probably just between the bench players.
And looking at your team here, literally the difference between it is the fact that you're going to have. I'll ask you the question: are you doing any transfers or not?
I've done a transfer, but I'm stupid.
Well, do you want to reveal to me now?
I did a transfer last night, and I did it at 2:00 in the morning, basically. I'm in an RN for ages about it, and I was like, should I do it? Should I do it? And I'm like, and of course the price rises happened. So I had the transfer ready to go, and I went to click the transfer, and it said, sorry, it said unable to complete transfer, refresh page due to price rises. And I'm like, oh no, really? Yes, yeah. It was Luke Shaw.
Okay, for Robertson.
Yeah, just a straight swap.
Did it? Well, obviously it went through.
It did, but I paid 0.1 more. 0.1. So I paid 5 million instead of 4.9 million.
So you're going to be playing Akanji, Trippier, and Luke Shaw. Yeah. Excellent transfer.
I was thinking of like, do I be quite clever? Do I try to be cheeky and bring in Havertz? And there was a way of doing like a -8. What brought Havertz? I was playing around in my head. I was like, could I bring in Cucurella? Could I bring in, and I was putting all these players in. I was like, what am I doing with my team here? I'm literally ruining my team because of this stupid double game week where Chelsea are not going to probably get anything. I've got my thoughts on Chelsea, and I don't think they're not going to do anything against City. And I don't see them. I don't see them doing anything against City at all. And against Fulham, I don't think that's going to be an easy game for them. I think that's going to be like a goals for both teams, maybe a 1-1, maybe a 2-1 either way.
Yeah.
And so like when people are like going, I need to get Cucurella and need to get Azpilicueta in, I need to double up on Chelsea defence because they've got a double game. I don't think, I've got a feeling, mate, that this double game week's a big trap for a lot of people. Yeah. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh no, I've used my transfers now. I've got two or three Chelsea players, maybe they've got Havertz and Mount, and Kepa, and all of a sudden they do nothing over the next 2 games, and then you're like, I need to get them out, and then what? Then you're going to make transfers then to try and get them out, and it's obviously like playing into other people's hands at that point. But I could be completely wrong. They might score against City a goal, and they might get a couple against Fulham, and Mount could end up being a good transfer. Havertz could be a good one. I've seen people mention Sterling. I think that's a bit. I think the goggles are definitely on the double game week goggles have definitely. I mean, what's Sterling done to actually make you bullish about bringing him into your FPL team? Come on, let's be honest, nothing. And the price point's not exactly favourable either. So. No, I think that this game week could end up being a big anticlimax for a lot of people. Yeah. I hope it isn't. I hope it isn't for. Wait, what am I saying? No, I don't hope it isn't. Because I'm not doing it. I don't. I hope it.
You've got 2 players in it. That's it.
Yes, I've got, and arguably the 2 that I would deem the most
template, so to speak.
Yeah, the safest players that if they come through for people, it's not going to mean that I'm going to be affected too much rank wise. But the question is, are you going to captain Haaland or are you going to captain Mitrovic?
Mitrovic.
But if he gets a yellow card against Leicester, that's him out. It's him suspended.
It is, but I can't see him getting a yellow card.
You can't see Mitrovic getting a yellow card.
Why would he? I mean, I don't know how. This would be his 5th of the season. It's not like he gets yellow cards left, right, and centre.
You're joking. Well, he got a yellow card against Newcastle. Got a yellow card against Everton. The yellow card against Tottenham, a yellow card against Wolves, but they are spread out across the season. His yellow cards, they're not like one after the other. But he's due a yellow card, mate. He's gone 4 games without a yellow card.
That doesn't bother me.
I mean, if he goes 1 more game without a yellow card, that'll be the longest run without a yellow card this season. So he's gone three games without a yellow card, 1 game, 3 games, 3 games, 1 game, 4 games without a yellow card, and then now he's 4 games. So I mean, are you playing with fire? Yes or no?
No, no, I don't think so. I think that. Look, Haaland against Chelsea, let's just say he gets a goal, whereas Mitrovic against Leicester could potentially get a couple. That's being extremely optimistic, but I don't think that City game is going to be an absolute battering at all. Right. It's going to be a tight 1-0, 2-0 City, maybe 2-1, something like that. City.
Have you seen Chelsea? They've not been that good at defence.
I don't know about not being that great at defence. I think they're perfectly fine to do it. It's attack that they're terrible in.
Yeah, but But City are going to be camping they're going to be camping their box majority of that game, I feel.
Yes, of course. Yeah. Well, that's Man City full stop. And look, I'm predicting a 2-0 to Man City. To be fair
to Chelsea, when they have lost, it's generally been the 1 goal they've let in.
Yes, yeah, and the history is pretty tight between these 2 teams.
In fact, over the last God knows how many game weeks, let's have a quick look. So, how many goals have they conceded? So they conceded 1 goal against Nottingham Forest in a draw. They conceded. They conceded 1 goal to Newcastle. That's another 1 goal. They conceded 1 goal to Arsenal in another defeat. Then they conceded 4 goals to Brighton. That could just have been a one-off back in October. That was a while ago now. But yeah, generally speaking, they tend to concede the 1 goal. They conceded 1 goal against Man United.
And let's get real here. In their last 6 games at home, they've won 4, drawn 1, and lost 1. And that, as you just mentioned, that 1 loss was 1-0 against Arsenal, who are the best team in the league at the moment.
Yeah, it's Haaland though. It's Haaland.
Well, yeah, you could be saying that every single game.
Well, yes, you could, but he's a freak of nature and he's doing things and he's putting out numbers that no other players have put out in the Premier League in its history. So. You can't look necessarily at Haaland and be like, it's just another player. You've got KDB, for God's sake, behind him. You've got, Grealish that seems to be picking him out every blooming game week now. No, but I get the logic behind Mitrovic, and the captaincy for me is on Mitrovic. But I just wanted to know if there was any inkling in your thought process that may have led you to any other decision. Because for me,
in fact, looking at it, just to interject, looking at it here, Chelsea's home record is identical to Man City's away record. They've both won 4, they've drawn 2, they've lost 1. Chelsea have scored 12 goals at home, conceded 6, whereas Man City have scored 1 extra goal, 13, and conceded 6.
Let's
so there's your 1-1 then.
Let's move on. Yeah, let's move on to the actual.
Hold on, let's just quickly look at the league table between me, you, and Dan, because let's get real here. This is the first time that me, you, and Dan have been this tight between each other. It's ludicrous.
It's what can I say? It's weird. It's weird that we're in this period of the season where we're literally
You're 4 points behind Dan. 7 points behind me, and Dan's 3 points behind me.
Yeah,
that's extraordinary.
Yep. Yeah.
And when you look at so you've only got, again, this means nothing. I think your team set up for this game is perfect because you've got a guaranteed clean sheet in Luke Shaw. That's a certainty against Bournemouth. Bournemouth are absolutely hopeless.
Potential that Luke Shaw also plays back in left back position with Martinez back in, and maybe a cheeky assist. You never know.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's on set pieces and whatnot. You've then got the 3-Man City. You're already ahead of me on that front with the 3-Man City assets, specifically in De Bruyne and Akanji. Who I kind of want to bring in. You've then got the likes of Almiron away at Arsenal, tough fixture, Martinelli at home to Newcastle.
Do you know what? I was going to ask you very quickly, whilst you bring up the subject of Almiron, and I think I know what the answer is going to be. But on the screen now, you can see the actual gap in points. It's ridiculously close right now between us. But genuine question, and I want you an honest answer. I could do... Right now, I've got 1.8 million in the bank. I could do Almiron to Mason Mount straight swap. No, Almiron to Mason Mount straight swap. Thoughts?
10 seconds ago, you've just said that you're not impressed by Chelsea. So my answer is don't bother.
Almiron to Mason Mount straight swap. Exact money.
Look. If you're confident that Mason Mount, he's guaranteed to start both games, get something across those two, and this would be for a -4.
It would be.
From a rivalry point of view, do it. From a rivalry point of view, do it. But
I haven't done it. Obviously, for obvious reasons, I don't want to take a hit again. I've already taken a hit and it didn't pay off. So and my team and Almiron is capable. Is a very capable player, and I'm playing a 3-5-3 with. So my team's on the screen now. Kepa in goal, Akanji, Trippier, and Shaw as the back line.
Beautiful.
And they got Rashford, Almiron, Martinelli, Salah, and De Bruyne as a midfield 5, and then you got Mitrovic and Haaland with Ben White, Greenwood, and Dalot on the bench. Obviously. Dalot unlikely to be featuring this week or maybe even next for United. So, but there is rumours. So he is back in training, but there's also rumours, Steve. I don't know if you know about this, but there's rumours that United may have a double game week coming up.
Yes, I'm aware of the double game week that could be happening. Yeah.
Okay. So yes. So if that is the case, having the 3 United there in Dalot, Shaw, and Rashford. Also got me kind of happy in that sense. Yes, I don't have much.
Here's a question for you, because I mentioned in the video last night. I don't think Delort comes straight into the team immediately. I think he just gets.
I think he comes off the bench.
Yes.
I think he comes off the bench.
He plays in the
75th minute or something, 80th minute, 10 minutes, 10-minute run around.
What does it take for him to take Wan-Bissaka's place?
I think you'd be surprised. I think Dalot actually has a high standing in that team.
Yes,
I think he's a spokesman for the club on and off the field. He's definitely a leader. He's got good leadership qualities on the pitch. Defensively, he very rarely puts the foot wrong. Obviously, I don't think he's the same standard as Wan-Bissaka when it comes to actually sliding tackles but when it comes to reading the game and holding his position well as a defender, I don't see he doesn't put a foot wrong, and he's also got a wicked cross on him. So I think that Ten Hag probably does have Dalot but he's not going to rush him back in. He's not going to be like, I need to get Dalot right now back in the team. He's going to give him 10 minutes to come off the bench and then see how he is. Unless he plays in the cup and plays decent minutes in the cup and he feels he's fit enough to start in the Premier League, I don't expect him to be on the team sheet. Certainly not this week. But again, we'll know more. We'll know more by game week 20. But yeah, team with Mitrovic and Haaland up front. So I've gone with captain on Mitrovic. When it comes to differentials between us, what is the difference? What have you done with your team?
So it's Mason Mount against De Bruyne.
Right.
It is Darwin versus Almiron. It's Andreas versus Martinelli. And it's Wan-Bissaka versus Shaw. And it's Robertson versus Akanji. And if Robertson doesn't play, which it's going to be a bit annoying that he doesn't, but I've got Bueno coming off the bench and he's up against Aston Villa.
Bueno's not it's not like the worst, but when I hear that you got Mason Mount, I mean, again, if I was to bring Mason Mount in, why am I doing that? I'm taking a -4 to bring in the player you've got, so I'm giving you 4 points essentially.
This week is probably going to be as differential between mine and your teams
as we probably can get.
Yeah, and have you got
Salah?
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm begrudgingly playing Andreas because he's got the double game week. So,
who have you benched?
Martinelli.
Oh no.
Martinelli. Who have I benched? It's Martinelli. Once I can get it up on my screen here, there we are. Martinelli, Reece James, and Bueno. But like I said, Bueno's probably going to come in for Robertson. So it's.
So De Bruyne, so De Bruyne, Almiron, Akanji, Shaw, Martinelli are the differentials for me.
Yeah, and your team are facing some tough opponents. I know I said about Arsenal, Brighton being very difficult. I know they came out on top pretty comfortably, but it wasn't really that comfortable game. It was just 2 goals either side of the first half and the second half within seconds that they went 1-0/3-0 up. Barring that, the middle pieces weren't that great, and I don't expect it to be that. It could be quite an open game, Newcastle Arsenal, but they're both in fantastic form.
You know what? I'd love it. I'd love it if it was end to end.
Do you know what?
Like a basketball game.
Yeah, it could happen. It's a very difficult game to call.
It is.
I expect Arsenal to come out on top. The history says 2-0.
I've got a feeling it's going to be cagey.
Well, Newcastle have been in very good form.
They have,
So have Arsenal.
It's a big game for Newcastle, isn't it? Imagine if they get a result there. Jeez. If they get a result there, let's have a look at the table now. Man City have jumped, but they've obviously got a game in hand. It's a massive game. It's almost like a must-win game for Newcastle, this one.
Arsenal have won their last 6 fixtures. Yeah, Newcastle have won 4, drawn 1, lost 1.
Yeah. So looking at this now, it's for Arsenal. If they were to lose to Newcastle, Newcastle then go 6 points behind them. However, Arsenal have got a game in hand. So Newcastle played 17 games. Man City are on 16 games and they're on 36 points. So yeah, that would be interesting because that would mean that 7 points separate Man City and Arsenal at the moment. Wow.
And also the last big game. So the only game that Newcastle have lost away from home was away at Liverpool. And that came courtesy of a 97th minute goal for Fabio Carvalho, if you remember that. 97th minute. So Isaac scored in the 38th minute. Firmino didn't score until the 61st minute.
Yes, I remember.
And the 97th
Carvalho.
minute, if you remember, Carvalho popped up with that goal. So, Newcastle have got the form, I think, to trouble Arsenal.
They have.
And like I say, am I expecting Martinelli to outperform Andreas? Probably. But Andreas, give or take 4 points across 2 fixtures. Martinelli, I think at most a goal. So I may miss out on 2 points. I can't see him getting a double digit against Newcastle.
Well, let's go into predictions, shall we? Because obviously time's ticking on.
Yes. I've got to get moving, but yeah.
Yeah. So let's quickly just go through very, very quickly. We'll just speak them out. We haven't got time to do.
I really do hope that you do the Mason Mount move, just from an overall rank perspective for getting on rivalry.
Yeah. Monday the 2nd. Right. So today we've got Brentford versus Liverpool. It's not the early kickoff. It's the evening kickoff, or the late afternoon kickoff. But early kickoff in the sense of the game week. Brentford versus Liverpool. Brentford been playing well recently. Liverpool been leaking goals. Do you expect much of the same?
Well, apparently Tony is going to be playing. And
my headphones are just disconnected. Give me 1 moment.
Yeah, I expect Tony to maybe trouble Liverpool. It is going to be a very, very difficult game, this particular game week for Liverpool. And it's very, very, very difficult to call, Jace. But I think it's the classic line from me, because it's Liverpool. I'm going to say they're going to nick it 2-1. It wouldn't surprise me if it ended up as a draw.
2-1 sounds good to me, to be fair. Liverpool
Hopefully
will
Darwin
concede.
comes through.
Yeah. A lot of people sold him from Mitrovic, mate.
Yeah.
Arsenal, Newcastle. I think 2-1 either way. I can't call it. Flip a coin. Think both sides are good enough for a goal. Definitely both sides are good enough for a goal. But who will win?
I'm going to go 1-0 to the Arsenal. I think they just get it. 1-0.
Wow. Okay.
But I agree with you. 2-1 either way.
When was the last time that Newcastle failed to score in a game?
Well, you predict the Everton game and I'll give you that information, all right?
Okay. Next one up is Everton versus Brighton. Oh, God. What a drab game. That's Brighton. That's Brighton. Brighton's going to have this game, I think. 1-0 Brighton.
So the question was, this is going to be egg on your face. The question was, when was the last time Newcastle didn't score a goal? It was on Saturday, mate. 0-0 with Leeds.
Okay, before Saturday.
Okay, before Saturday, then I will try and find out for you. So what did you say with Brighton versus Everton?
1-0 to Brighton, because Everton are rubbish.
1-0 to Brighton. So the answer to your question is it was Manchester United. It was away at Man United 0-0.
When was that?
It was the last time that was back in 16th of October. Was the last time Newcastle failed to score. And
okay.
They've got some very good results away from home. In fact, there's a lot of 0-0s for Newcastle. They drew 0-0 with Brighton. This is all Premier League. 0-0 with Crystal Palace, 0-0 with Man United, and 0-0 with Leeds. So we could be on for another 0-0, Jace. Me, on the other hand, Everton versus Brighton. God almighty. Everton can't score. Brighton can't score. 0-0.
Trossard can.
Yeah.
0-0. Okay. Leicester versus Fulham. Mitrovic.
Captain Mitrovic.
2-1 to Fulham.
I'm going the other way round. 2-1 to Leicester. In fact, when I did my history yesterday, it's suggesting a very high-scoring game.
Oh.
3-2 either way.
Okay.
I'm going to go 2-1 to Leicester.
Okay. Manchester United versus Bournemouth. I think United have got enough there to see that game through. Will it be 2, 3, 4 goals? No, it may just be 1 goal. I'm going to go 1-0 to Man United.
I'm going to give you another goal. I'm going to go 2-0.
Okay. Southampton versus Nottingham Forest on the Wednesday. 1-1.
I think Southampton nicked this. I'm going to go 1-0. But honestly, 0-0 wouldn't surprise me. I'm going to go 1-0, Jace.
And then we've got Leeds versus West Ham. I'm going to go Leeds to win this. I'm going to go 2-1 to Leeds.
West Ham are useless. I'm going to go...
Maybe 2-0 to Leeds.
Do you know what? To hell with you, Jace. I'm going to go with a high-scoring game for Leeds. Even though I just said West Ham won't score, I'm going to go 3-1 to Leeds.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah. Aston Villa then against Wolves, your bueno.
Yeah. I think this is going to be quite tight, but I think Unai Emery is just going to continue his usual winning run at the moment. I'm going to go 2-0 to Aston Villa.
What happened to this thing about Spurs comfortably beating Aston Villa as well? You said
Kulusevski wasn't playing. That's why.
Yeah. I'll pride myself on my prediction.
I got 1-1 Chelsea, Nottingham Forest. Come on.
Well, what are we on? Aston Villa Wolves. What did you say?
I said 2-0 to Aston Villa.
Oh, I'm going to go 1-1. Crystal Palace versus Spurs.
God. 2-1 to Tottenham.
You really like Tottenham, don't you? You love them, don't you?
Like
they're always going to win. They're always going to win. I don't know. 1-1.
Yeah, honestly, yes. 1-1, yeah. Good.
Chelsea versus City. I'm going to go with a 2-0 win to Man City.
1 or 2-0. I'll go with...
Chelsea ain't going to score.
I'll agree with you. I'll go with 2-0 to Man City.
Fulham versus Chelsea on the Thursday. Also.
I'm going with a high-scoring game here. And I think
wait a minute. There's a gap between the 5th and the 12th.
Yes, yeah. Because they're at the cup.
It's the cup games, isn't it? Yeah, yes. Cup games. Okay, yeah. So, what was your score prediction? Fulham versus Chelsea.
I'm going with goals in this game, and I'm going to go with a 2-1 to Chelsea.
And then, and then the next game, week 20, is the day after.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So what did you say? Fulham, Chelsea?
I went 2-1 to Chelsea.
2-1 to Chelsea. Okay. Cool. So that was the predictions. I'm going to say.
What were you predicting? You didn't say.
1-1. Oh dear me.
Kovacic with a goal and a
god.
Zabrari or whatever his name is. Assist.
Yeah. Oh dearie me. So there we go. There we have it. Oh, so have you got any plans to do any streams or videos over the next few days, Steve-o?
No, because I'm back to reality and all the evening matches. They're all evening matches, so
yeah.
Work for tomorrow.
I'm just thinking.
We'll discuss it off air.
Yeah. Okay. So, okay, well, in that case, guys, thank you for tuning in. If you've enjoyed the content, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Also, be sure to check out our Twitter at Elite FPL and our Discord, which is basically full of FPL managers talking about their FPL teams and jumping in hangouts, talking to each other. It's at Elite FPL. Also there. So, guys, see you next time. We'll post when we'll be doing the next video ahead of time. Generally speaking, there will be some sort of reaction to the events of this week. So look out for videos that Steve-o posts as well. Thank you so much. Cheers.